Welcome back to SEO Conspiracy.com with Mr. Dixon Jones, the one and only, the most
and
the
Mr.
one.
Laurent Borelli, who's so this is a real black hat, white hat topic this time. So
Well, is it really black hat with buying links? Buying links everywhere I go, forums, Reddit, Twitter. Oh no, you should not do it. You should not do it. Follow the guidelines, blah blah. But it's a fact, not an opinion. A fact. Everybody is buying links. Everybody. So,
define buying. That's the question.
Yes. And what is how Google is fighting it? What's the deal? Let's try to clarify. First, please explain to us what is the value. How are you supposed to get links if you follow the Google guidelines? Let's start from that.
So it's this. Honestly, I mean, this is where black hat, white hat, and Google hat seem to blur into a world of semantic words. Because on one hand, I mean, I'd like to say I don't buy links, but on the other hand, I very much try and create scenarios whereby people are going to link to my content, because if I don't do that, I'm not going to get any links. So you've got to have kind of other way. So for anybody to link to your content, generally it's either done automatically. Google links automatically to every single web page on the internet because it's linking in its search results, or it's done with a malice aforethought, so to speak, and somebody actually links to your website. There's got to be a reason for them doing that. There has to be some kind of incentive, and I challenge Google to, as humans, say these are links that we say will count towards your page rank, with specific examples, because if they were to do that, I think that any SEO would be able to, with just a few examples, be able to take one down and prove that there was some kind of incentive behind that decision-making process of whoever created the link in the first place. So money is just one incentive, of course. That's the irony. A link could be there because of physical money. It could be there because of an affiliate relationship.
Yeah, but sorry to cut you off, but even if you do it pre-Google, what's called press and public relations, you hire a PR agency, you pay that PR agency, and they're gonna figure out a way to feature you in a magazine and TV or media. There is still money involved. It's not organic. One way or another, you pay, or you spend time, or you trap, or you. What I want to say, it's not just publish great content and the rest will follow. That's the official speech from Google. Build a great website and wait for links to come. That's the guideline. That's what they advise.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Sorry, just before you finish that, and everybody should look at the warning at the top of the link schemes on Google's development thing, help pages, because none of this should go out without somebody saying there's a bloody great big warning from Google. Toxic links, link schemes are bad. But go on. But what link is good then?
Well, the whole black hat thing, in my opinion, that's the way I see it. Where I draw the line is the justice, the legal system. Meaning, if you want the tip, you want the easiest way to build links, hacking website. If you hack a website, if you and it's out there, okay? There's a lot of websites that tell you, it's the user manual. They say, okay, Joomla has XXS vulnerability on this type, and there's the code. So you can totally get into any type of website, WordPress, Forums, PHPBB, or Joomla, Drupal, whatever, Magento, all of them have flaws. And you are like, oh, I don't destroy anything. I just put a page with a bunch of links. Well, it's hacking. It's entering somebody's server, and that's illegal. That's years of jail, and that's hundreds and thousands of pounds, dollars, of euros, wherever you are. That's the real black hat. The people who are going to use hacking to penetrate a website, to build links, and it's the easiest way to build links. It is. You just got bots. It's automatic. It's not humans doing that. Now, the whole gray area in between, just publishing content and waiting for the magic to happen, or hacking, this whole gray area, that's where it becomes really shady. And here my statement is 100% no bullshit SEO. What I don't like is the bullshit. And even last European Search Awards, there was an entry for best SEO campaign by one of the top-notch London agency. I'm not going to say the name, but they submitted entry and pretending that they were so genius at SEO and so brilliant at content that links came just because they were so great. No, they bought them. They got nailed. They bought the links. We figured it out. They got eliminated. But what if nobody picked up on it? What if none of the judge did the work?
The practical question of how is Google trying to handle and find PBNs? So PBN being private backlink network.
So where I disagree with some people, and especially I have one ex-Googler in France who is making his entire business about, hey, I was working at Google, but he's selling and buying links. And he's saying, yeah, but my way of doing it is cleaner than the other ones. No, dude. No.
This is where it comes back to a human interpretation of a very difficult line. Yeah, I mean, it's but it's still, I still think it helps for us to think about how Google might build algorithms to spot those kinds of networks, because you don't want to go and find them, really. You don't want to be in what can be found. So, for example, one that was public was when a very well-known SEO was well, My Blog Guest was a blogging platform
I remember
where you could go and say, I want some content, please, written on your blog, please, about this kind of thing, and then somebody could write some content about it, and there would be links in there and stuff like that. And we think that was caught because there was a little pixel, a tracking pixel, that people were asked to put onto those sites so that it then tracked the whole thing. I think that's how that was caught. But basically, in doing so, it said, right, guest blogging is, not not good. Well, okay, that's fine. But what's the difference between guest blogging and Apple showing its new iPhone to PC Mag and asking them to write about it? It's the same thing.
No.
It's the same thing.
So they catch you because of a footprint. And I remember, I forgot his name, but there's this guy from the Matt Cutts team, from the anti-spam team, who came out with a cool tool called Netcomber. That tool is out now. He sold it, so it's not working. But it was a tool to track networks of sites, to figure out. And I remember talking to him, and he said that he uses over 3,000 different footprints. And the only thing he told me is like, don't even think that my tool is more than 10% of what they have over at Google to detect link schemes. So what I found genius from Google is not the way they detect the network, is the way they fight the business of buying links. When they identify a website that sells links, usually all the big media, all the big press sites sell links. any website where you see ads, you can buy links by definition. They're all striving for money. They're all like dying. All this industry, the press industry, you can buy the whole page. Okay, you can buy, you can buy a lot of things. You buy an ad and you tell the guy, yeah, I'll buy you an ad, but I also want links here. Trust me, he'll get you the links.
Mm-hmm.
If it's flagged, humanly flagged by Google, it's diabolical. It's diabolical what they did. The website is not going to be penalized. It's not going to drop in ranking. Nothing is going to happen. But they cut off the link juice. It's not going to pass PageRank anymore. But because we don't see the green...
PageRank going into the site? Or so if the rank is
out.
Or out of the site?
It doesn't go out anymore.
Yeah.
So you buy a link, and it's usually expensive links over like 800, 1,000, 1,200 bucks for this type of links, and it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
You're wasting your money. That's the way they fight it. This is from people at Google themselves who told me that. So I think the information is valid and it makes sense. They say they stopped trying to play cat and mouse. You got manual penalties dropping, like they still manually flag websites.
What they do tend to do then, I think, though, is now they are telling you within Google, Webmaster tools, when you have got those warnings, they will tell you that, you seem to have an unnatural link profile. And I suppose they probably send that message out at the same time as they penalize the inbound sites and the inbound networks. What they won't necessarily do is tell you all the websites that are banned.
Yeah. So now, what's the solution? In my opinion, and like I said, no bullshit here. I'm telling you, you are big, you're an adult, do whatever you want. I'll just give you the information. You should have a variation. Variation is the word here. You should have small sites, old sites, big page rank, small page rank, blah, blah. But if you really want to have something powerful in your hands, it's called a private link wheel. Private, not public. You don't buy links on one of those public, dirty, smelly PBN, private blog networks. No, you can build your own. If you are smart enough, if you do it well enough, you can have your own little private network, which is the case for a lot of big websites with different languages or different companies. They have a little network. You can't simulate that. Now, if you want to apply this without knowing what you're doing, it's not going to work. You need a professional to help you with that. But even in the worst case scenario, you got the penalty in the Search Console, you got the message, it's just one press of the button and the link is gone. I guarantee you 1 week to lift off the penalty. 1 week with the private link wheel.
But with that problem, of course, if your private link wheel has got a penalty, then you've lost your private link wheel. So
yes,
therein lies a challenge and a risk. I think my advice to the guys out there is that if you are going to think about buying links, think about the nature of that transaction that is happening, and I think that's the very dangerous part. It's not the one that's easy for Google to track, but it's the underlying, if you like, so use Laurent's words, smell of what's good and what's bad in Google's eyes. If there's a transaction where you're trying to get links purely for the search engine benefit without any kind of underlying other reason, and that's your prime motivation, then at that point in Google's eyes, you've stepped over the line. And if you've stepped over the line, Google thinks it's fair game for them to then find ways to penalize that approach.
I mean, you just put the domain into Majestic. I don't even need to click on the URL. Just by the look of those expired domains, I can figure out in half of a second, okay, that's a dirty SEO PBN. It smells like 100 miles away. SEO, aggressive SEO.
But most of the good PBNs will block Majestic and Ahrefs and the other backlink tools from looking at the source links. So they're not always. It's not always as easy to spot. In fact, sometimes it's easier to spot by their big absence. When you find loads of links in Google Search Console that you can't find on the link networks, link tools, that in itself is a pretty big thing there, because you can sort of see the link network.
And think about Google Boat. It's usually in companies of other boats on the website, and he's like, "Oh, I'm all by myself. What's going on? Why am I the only one?" And it's a flat structure. You got the money site, and right behind, on the same level, you got a whole bunch of expired domains, all linking from their homepage to the homepage. It's stupid. I build Linkwheel has different levels. The closer you get from the center, the cleaner it is. The wider, the farther away you are, the less clean you can go. Just be a little bit smart. If you want to fake it, it's not that difficult to use your brain and common sense to make something that doesn't smell 100 miles away. Hey, I'm a SEO. And again, Dixon and I are prime examples of people who are able to publish content that deserves link, that gets links. We know better than Googlers themselves. The guys at the top of Google who communicate right now, I've checked them out. They don't know how to build. They've never built content that deserves links. They don't know what they're talking about. Dixon did it numerous times. I did it numerous times. So yes, we know what it is to build great content that deserves links. But we do the promotion work around that content. Just the great piece of content is not enough. You gotta do.
It's like doing a really good brochure and then putting it under the stairs. Yeah. You've got to still promote your content, otherwise it won't go anywhere. Absolutely. I'm sure there's really good search engines apart from Google and Bing, but they're not promoting themselves. People aren't using them.
That's definitely one of the conspiracy theories I gotta talk about. Why is there no competition in the search industry?
Put it on the list.
I put it on the list because it's true. I mean, especially before the crisis, with all the money pouring into the startup world, why no search engines? Except the French Quant.com, but that's
you've got DuckDuckGo. You've got
DuckDuckGo is not doesn't have its index. Quant is the only one which try to build its own index.
No, I've got a couple of others, but we'll save it for the
the Chinese Baidu, Yandex.
No. I've got to remember them all. There's a UK one actually that's doing quite a nice job, and I just can't remember its name. And it's certainly raised 7 figures. But of course, Majestic's got its own index. If you put a keyword into Majestic, it will return results.
That's one.
Be a search engine.
Sorry to cut you off. It's one of the most undervalued function in Majestic. Using the Majestic search engine is very, very interesting.
What are we going to talk about next then?
Is SEO going to die? The title SEO is dead is more like a meme, more like a troll in the industry. But the real topic is what's the deal with how to conduct SEO, how to get results now? Should you listen to people who write stuff about old school SEO? Or it could be old school versus new school SEO. Whatever you want it.
Okay.
Until next time. Thank you.
Figure it out then. See you guys.